Hi guys, Tony here with the fourth lesson in our Acoustic Blues course for beginners. So I hope you're enjoying the course so far. We've already looked at 3 different 12-bar blues progressions, so I hope you've enjoyed that. If you have, leave me a comment, let me know how you're enjoying the course so far. If you're new to the channel, then make sure you subscribe. I'm going to be uploading all these lessons, the whole course, free onto YouTube for now over the next couple of weeks. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Now, again, we've looked at very practical things so far. We've looked at 3 different ways to play a 12-bar blues. And now I think it's important to know a little bit about theory because we're going to be covering things like improvisation and scales and different chords. Okay, now to be able to really understand the guitar and to be able to do this stuff yourself, to be able to just pick it up and play, understand the key somebody's playing in, understand how to play along right away, then I think you need to know a little bit about theory. Alright, so what we're going to look at is the notes on the fretboard. We're going to look at the major scale, and then we're going to look at how we can take a chord progression and make something bluesy from that knowledge. Okay, so I'm going to keep it simple. Now, the most important thing to know is the notes on the fretboard. You don't need to memorize all the notes right away. Eventually that will come with time. But you need to know how to find them. Okay, so you need to know, if you want to find this note here, you need to know how to find it. You don't need to know what it is right away, but you need to know how you can figure it out. Now, it's really simple actually. There's only 12 notes on this fretboard. There's only 12 notes in Western music. Okay, so that right there makes it a little bit more simple. There's only 12 notes, 12 possibilities in every note that you pick. Now, we have A through to G. Most notes have sharps. The only note that doesn't have a sharp is B and E. So if you remember that, B, E don't have sharps. And then you just count progressively over the fretboard. So if we start on the E note, right, we know this is the E string, so that's the E note. If we move up 1 fret, we move to the next note. Now, like I said, B and E don't have sharps, so this won't be E sharp. I'll move right to F. Okay, just like the alphabet, right? E, F. Right, now F does have a sharp, so the next note will be sharp, F sharp. Alright, so if you think of every note having 2 parts to it, okay, which is just a normal F and then an F sharp. Okay, so E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, and because we don't go, there's no H, alright, A, F, G, H, I, J, there's none of that. We go right back to A. Again, right? At the start of the alphabet. Okay, so we get E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. Next note will be A sharp, B. Now we don't have a B sharp because B and E don't have sharps. So we go right to C. So after B, we go to C. C sharp, D, E sharp, and back to E again. So you see that there's normally 2 dots in the 12th fret, and that is because we have reached the octave, okay? E, E, A, A. On the A string, it's a little bit easier to visualise, right? Because you're starting right at the start of the alphabet. So you get A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, E sharp. Nope. E's don't have sharps. So F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A on the 12th fret again. Okay, so as long as you can figure that out, then yeah, you'll be able to find any note on the fretboard. Now, we're going to find out how we can take a chord progression from knowing that knowledge. Okay, so the normal blues progression, and we've talked about this already, is a 1-4-5. In the last lesson, I talked about the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord. Now, that is derived from the major scale. most things that we talk about in terms of chord progressions and chords and intervals, ninths, sevenths, whatever, is derived from the relative major scale. Okay, so I hope I'm not losing you here. Let's do the major scale. So we can pick anywhere in the fretboard. I'm going to pick the 3rd fret. Okay, which means this would be the G major scale, because this is the G note. E, F, F sharp, G. Okay, and then I'm going to do this. Okay, so I'm going 3, 5, 2, 3, 5, 2, 4, 5. Okay, so 3, 5, 2, 3, 5, 2, 4, 5. Okay, now there's 7 notes there. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the 8th note, I'm back to the G note. Alright, I'm back to the beginning again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1 again. Alright. Now, because I know how to find the notes in the fretboard, I can figure out what the notes are, right? So, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and back to G again. Okay? Now, the formula for finding chords on that is major, minor, minor, major, major, minor. Oh, sorry. Minor, diminished. Okay? So major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. Alright? Now don't worry about diminished, right? We don't really need to play that unless we're playing jazz. Alright? So we don't normally use that chord. Alright? So we get G major, A minor, then B minor, C major, D major, E minor, F diminish, then G major. Again, don't worry about the diminished right now, right? We're playing blues. So when we talk about a 1, 4, 5, we talk about the 1, the 4, and the 5 chord from the major scale. So if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the notes that I'm concerned with. 1, the 4, and the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 4, 5. Now, an easy way to find it is to use a sort of L shape. So if I've got G here, I know the 4 is right underneath it, and the 5 is right here. 1, 4, 5. Okay, so I know this is a G, A, B, C, D. G, C, D. Alright? They're my chords that I can use. A G, a C, and a D. And they're normally, well, in the major scale, they're always going to be major. G major, C major, and D major. Alright? Now I can change that. I could go G minor, C minor, D minor. I could go G7, C7, D7. Okay, whatever. Or I could mix and match them a little bit. So, again, using the formula that we've used in Spell Bar Blues, we've got the 1 chord, which would be the G in this case, for 4 bars. The 4 chord for 2 bars, which would be C. The 1 chord for 2 bars again, right? So it's G, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Then C. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Back to G. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, that's 8 bars. Then the 5 chord, which is the D for 1 bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the 4 chord for a bar. C. 1, 2, 3. Then 1, 3, 12th bar. Okay, so remember, it's the 1 chord for 4 bars, the 4 chord for 2 bars, the 1 chord for 2 bars, then the 5 chord, the 4 chord, the 1 chord, and the 5 chord again. And again, 1, 4, 5. That's how we figure it out. Now that was a little bit too happy for a blues, right? So what we could do is turn them into 7 chords, right? I could do a G7 instead of a G, which is just a 3, 2, and then 1 on the high E string, right? So I could go 1, 2, 4, 1, 2. Play that for 4 bars, and then I could do a C7, right? Now if I just use my pinky on the G string here, right? If I add that in, that becomes a C7. I can go 1, 2. If that's a little bit difficult, I could use the B7 shape on the 3rd fret. So 1, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to G7. 1. My 5 chord, I could use a D7, right, which is like a backwards D, right? I've got my first finger on the B string, the 1st fret, my middle finger on the G string on the 2nd, and my 3rd finger on the high E string. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or I could mix and match them a little bit. I could go G major. This would be a bit like Folsom Prison Blues, right? Don't ever play with gun. G7. Back to G major. G7, G7, G. Alright, and I hope that made sense. The theory stuff can be a little bit tedious, but I think that's important to know. It's important to know how to find chords and chord progressions on the fretboard. Now, if I wanted to do the same thing in the key of A, for example, I could find the A on the low E string. So G, and this is G, G sharp A, E, F, F sharp G, G sharp, and A. And I do the same thing. 1, 4, 5. I know this is an A, that's a D, and that's an E. Alright, I can do A7, D7, A7, E7. Alright, if I found the D note here, I've got D, and then I've got G, and then A. D, G, A. So we go D7, 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 A7. Alright, so basically, that's it. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. It is dragging on a little bit now, but if you don't get this stuff right away, don't worry. It will eventually sink in, and eventually we'll go, aha, now I know what that crazy Scottish guy was talking about. So, anyways, I hope you enjoyed that, and we'll get back to playing some bluesy stuff in the next lesson. Take it easy, and I'll see you soon.